They are the parents. Parenting does not mean just guiding the children on the general values, but they must instill in them our the bhakti or the dedication to our land, to our Madhur Bhumi, our precious Bharat.
The kind of help parents can give requires mindfulness in the sense of being attentive to the child, understanding the child, and being responsive to the child's needs, because ultimately the child's happiness should be all that matters to us as parents.
The spacecraft came out of the womb of the rocket, and I felt always like that. The mother takes it to the space, it delivers it there for a greater journey beyond that point. I think that symbolizes the roles of a parent and the journey of a child.
If we need to make quantum leaps in social progress, we need to invest in the youngest of children.
To be a mindful parent or to walk the path of mindful parenting, I think we as parents need to regulate our emotions. We need to be very strong. We need to be like a role model for the children, because they keep looking at us, they keep watching us, they keep picking up a word or thought of what we express.
Mindful parenting is the effort to bring awareness, attention, and curiosity to your interactions with your children.
There's a beautiful saying that it takes a village to raise a child. We think it takes a special village to raise a special needs child. And we've been very fortunate. I must confess that both me and Dipali have been incredibly fortunate to have a great support system. Without a support system, we wouldn't be where we are.
How nice.
Dietary ma. Good evening.
How nice.
Namaste. Look, very, very good evening and welcome. Welcome. We greet you so warmly. Thank you. Okay, so namaste, sir. Praveen ji, namaste. Gratitude to Mummy. Thank you. We welcome our audience join us. Today's session, I think, is about nurturance and care. Water what nurtures your soul. That's what parenting is. You have to water what nurtures the soul. Mommy, please greet our guests and we
So
start.
much to learn from Luke. We are your fans, Luke. The entire team at Demonstrative Learning is your Pakka fan. They were after my life. Say, karna hai humko Luke ko, karna hai Luke ko, because we got so much to learn from you on parenting. And we have one of us, Ajay, Dr. Ajay Kumar is an author of Mindful Parenting. And we got Praveen also dealing with lithology, which connects with parents on. So I think we got so much to learn from you, Luke, today. Your introduction has been already capsulated. It's in a capsule form, though we can't do so much of justice to your amazing contribution, Luke. I look forward to learning from you and hearing from you and the listeners and readers. As you know, this will be remaining as a permanent feature on our demonstrative learning channel. So when they click parenting and they use this search word parenting and Luke, I think you will pop out. Please tell us all about your experience on parenting, lifestyle, holism, comprehensive. Well, what are you seeing? What are the challenges you seeing today, Luke? Please go ahead.
Great. Thanks for having me. And I think this is a beautiful initiative, mindful parenting. I think it's such a need of an hour because there's so much of confusion. There's so much of content. There are certain cultures that try to impress upon us, put parents into a box, put children into a box that you should co-sleep for this amount of years. You should do this, you should do that, failing to understand the individuality of a child, the uniqueness of a child, that every child is different. Every child may need, different emotions from a parent at a particular time. And what I'm seeing today and whatever I speak about is not what I think is right. In lifestyle medicine and holistic medicine, we look at what does the patient need? What does a child need? What does a parent need? Rather than us assuming that all children need a particular thing. All parents need a particular thing. It's always the other way around. I'd like to start off with a simple example. The constant debate on co-sleeping. No, you should allow your child only to sleep with you for 1.5 years. Then you should move the child out of the room. This is impressed on us by different cultures, assuming that all children are the same. But the beauty in our own country in India, co-sleeping is dependent on so many various factors. Sometimes a child needs to sleep with both parents for a longer period of time. That helps them with their emotional development, with a feeling of security, with a feeling of independence, love, attention, time. And some kids move out automatically into their own rooms. And every parent has to be, that's why I love the word mindful. What does my child need? Rather than putting ourselves into a box because certain cultures say it has to be this way at this particular age. So, what we're seeing around is confusion, so much of content, and the fact that we're trying to put the human spirit of a parent or a child in a box, expecting the same results, but they're completely different. So today, when I look, there are always foundations. Like the foundations of lifestyle medicine is balanced nutrition, adequate exercise, deep sleep, and emotional wellness. What are the three foundations that a child needs? That can never change. Like laws in nature can't change. The law of gravity can't change. There are foundations that will never change for a child. And that's what we start to mindfully nurture. Number one, love. Number two, attention and time. Number three, a sense of safety or security. These are the three foundations, and you can break them down into smaller things, but these are the three foundations. If a child gets this, it's the foundation block of their growth, how they'll be as they age, as they move into their teenage years. While we have value systems, which are very, very important, the foundations. So while we look at all of these things, what age our children should do this, what age our children should do that, we can be flexible and fluid with that. But we have to ask ourselves, have we kept the foundations strong? Sometimes parents travel a lot. That's why the child wants to sleep with them, even if they're 6, 7, or 8 years old, because they're looking for that time. They're looking for that safety and security. Children don't understand the meaning of safety and security and love and time. They feel it. They don't understand it like adults. They understand it through feeling. So when we give them time, when we're talking to them, not looking at our phones, when we're engaging them, they feel that. When they sleep with two parents, or they get cuddled, or they get hugged, they feel a sense of safety and security. When parents tell them, no matter what, we're here for you, they feel it because they don't understand. So how do we nurture these three blocks? Now, over and above that, we can add complication. Oh, but this psychologist said that, this psychiatrist said this is what we should do. That's up to you. Every parent has the right to make their decision, but on a solid foundation. We always build the health. When I say health, I'm not talking about physical today. I'm talking about emotional. The emotional and physical health of a child has to be built on a strong foundation. If the foundation is weak, everything that you build on will always tend to be weak and kind of falling apart. So I think the things I'm seeing in today's world is we're taking a beautiful spirit of a child and putting it into a box, not realizing our children are different, not realizing that we as parents, we're different. We may have gone through a different childhood. Sometimes parents, in fact, I say all parents, all our jobs, me included, we need to be healing all the time to make sure that we're not projecting our own negativities, our own voids onto our children, which is very easy to do. No one's fault. And that's why parents also have to play a role of constantly healing. So these are the things we're trying to see. Parents come to us, fix our children, but the parents need to fix themselves first before the children can be fixed. So it's a very holistic approach when you look at these things that are happening in today's world. We have to look like every parent has the best intentions for their children, that we don't want them to get into drugs. We don't want them to get into mindless sex. We don't want them to get into this. But we don't realize that we're giving them the platform of free access to social media. We don't want them to watch pornography, but we've opened the gateway of soft porn through social media to them. So no one's right or wrong. We have a genuine problem that we need to solve. At the same time, we need to see how to figure their lives, move them slowly into social media at the right age. There are all these things that come up. So to answer your question, these are the things that we're seeing all the time. And parents have to be the role model. We cannot tell our children don't have aerated drinks, but they see us drinking it at night. We need to be the role model. If we want our children to be kind, how are we demonstrating that? And of course, we make mistakes. We also want them to see the mistakes we make and say, hey, I made a mistake. I was rude today. And that's not the way we want to be. We don't have to show our perfect self, because we don't want to teach children that perfection is real, because it isn't real. We need to show them that we can be flawed as humans, but we know when to be humble enough to say, I was wrong, rather than adding the ego and pride and confusing them more. So these are some of the things that we're constantly seeing. And the last point is, why do we parents think we know it all? At least my personal journey, I'm no one to preach, but I like talking through experience, because we deal with parents of sick children, healthy children. And I have my own daughter. You know how much we learn when we just ask children what they want instead of assuming? And you'll be surprised. You'll think they want to go to the mall, they want to go that. Ask them. They say, no, I just want to be home today. When we ask our children, you get what they truly want. Because most parents, we just get used to assuming that they want this, assuming that they want that. Give you a simple scenario in Mumbai. A child's social calendar is sometimes busier than an adult with the amount of parties they have to go for, events. And when you really ask these kids, do you want to go for all of those parties? They'll say, no, I just want to go for one or two of them. But we assume they want to go, and we're planning their weekends and filling it up. So I think the last point would be, let's not assume. Let's build healthy conversations, give them the gift of understanding, involving them. Like, what do you want? What do you want to do? Because children really know what they want. Of course, we can draw our boundaries and say no if we have to. But rather than us assuming, I think it's a beautiful gift to give them, where we ask them what they want, how they feel, and lead it in that direction.
Luke, thank you for those wonderful words.
Very,
If
very substantial opening.
so many messages, so many important messages, what you've given us. I want to tell you something. It is very heartening. When I see you, I see Natasha and Tiana with you.
It's very sweet. Thank you.
I see the three of you. Ma bless all of you. I see the three of you together. So lots of love to them. Look, talk about the importance of doing small things with great love. we're not teaching our children to live our daily life with great love. We are teaching them about the big things and what are they going to be and what are they going to acquire, but their daily life with great love.
Great. That's a beautiful question. So first, I want to start with a little bit of science. You know, I didn't know this earlier in life, nor did my parents and a lot of people out there, but we've learned it. And every parent has to know from the time their child is born till the age of 8 or 9, their subconscious mind is like a sponge. What does this mean? How do children learn to brush their teeth? Can I motivate any of the parents today to stop brushing their teeth? If I tell parents you lose weight faster if you stop brushing your teeth, will anyone listen? As much as they want to lose weight, they want. Why? It's in their subconscious mind. How did it get into their subconscious mind? Repetition, repetition, repetition. The subconscious mind of a child from the time they're born till roughly 8 or 9, and I'll talk how that 8 or 9 could even become 10 and 11. There's a way to do it. The subconscious mind is like a sponge. What they hear, what they see, what we teach them, values, get into their subconscious mind, the good and the bad, both of them. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a truth and a lie. It doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. It just takes and absorbs all the time, which is why sometimes some people lie so much that they believe it's the truth. Or you'll have some prisoners who say, I didn't even know I was doing this, because they've done it so many times that they believe it's the right way of doing it. Now, this gives us the power to use 8, 9 years to build in value systems. They see us, they model us, they will talk like us, they will pick up the languages, they will see everything, because that's how a child does. Everything goes into the subconscious mind, and their behaviors will come out of that. All our behaviors come out of subconscious mind. Like, let's say we're addicted to our phones. We just pick it up randomly. What is that? Subconscious patterns. And sometimes you don't even need it, but you picked it up. Subconscious patterns. Now, children have a beautiful imagination. That's why they'll believe in pixies and goblins and Santa Claus. And, that's why you have fairy tales as books, right? That imagination, the longer you keep it going, the subconscious mind remains more and more open. So if you have a child today, let's say your child is 7 or 8, and you say, oh no, I didn't know we have this tool that we can now impress and impress and impress. That's why certain grades in school fall between the age group of 3 and 8, because you learn your basic alphabets because you're learning through your subconscious mind. It's very difficult to learn once once the conscious mind starts to become more dominant. So now what we teach them, now a child's imagination, today we all tell, a lot of parents like, oh, don't believe in this, teach them reality. You're teaching them to shut their subconscious mind at an earlier age. So even if your child today is 9 or 10 and they still have this imagination of fairy tales and stuff like that, keep it going. They're still programmable at a subconscious level. But the moment we say this is not true, and parents have their valid reasons, I want to teach them reality. But how is reality going to help a child at 8, 9, and 10? Reality comes in at the right time. There's a time and place for everything and everyone. Someone at the age of 50 will automatically find spiritual paths easier. That's their phase of life. Someone trying to do it at 12 and 13 will get frustrated. They can actually get depressed because they're not in that right phase. They can embrace spirituality, but they're in a different phase of life. They're supposed to live, they're supposed to do different things. So this subconscious power that we have is such a beautiful thing that parents can use right now. We say, I think my child's going to do drugs at 13. What is the program you've put into their minds between the age of 1 and 8, right? It's all up to the programming that we put in. And I want us to use the skill. So you are right. Today, people want their children to live before their age. You have to understand whether you like it or not, and if the world is doing it, what has not changed is the architecture of your child's brain. It will not develop faster because you want it to. It's a resilient mind. It can learn faster. Children can pick up multiple languages. They can learn AI. They can learn coding. That's because they can. But you want a child's brain to develop at the pace of nature. Some children are slow, they pick up later in life. Some children are fast and they slow down later in life. There is no right or wrong. You allow, like I plant a seed today. Okay, I am in control of the depth of the seed, the kind of soil, the kind of manure. And then I have to surrender. It is dependent on the weather. It is dependent on so many other features. That is what we need to do. Provide the basics and foundations to your child and let them automatically start to grow. Now, as they move into 13 and 14, you mold them. You know, you find they like piano or basketball, you slowly start moving away from 5 sports a week. You slowly start bringing it down more towards what their passion is and moving them in that direction. But at age 8, 9, 10, a child doesn't know what they want. Let's not forget there are adults at 30, 40, 50 who still don't know what they want. So why put the pressure on children? The whole point is, I think the pressure for most parents comes from comparison. It's a subconscious or a very conscious variable. Everyone's parents in class is sending their kid for tennis. We should send them for tennis. Without realizing that tennis may not be their skill. They want to do something else. They want to do aerial silk. They want to do piano. Every child is different. And we're living in a world, like I said, where I really wouldn't say it's anyone's fault. Everyone is constantly in society, looking at what people are doing, absorbing information, but not mindfully thinking, is this what I really want for my child? Is this what my child really needs at this particular time? So that word mindful, I love that you'll use it because parenting can become scientific, it can become preachy, but mindfulness brings in the element of we have a child who's different. Let's mindfully build around our child, build around our skills, what we didn't have, what they have, and put it all together. So I really think, and you know what? There are two spectrums of children in the world today. Everyone doing multiple things and burning out their children, okay, doesn't mean success. It doesn't mean that. And everyone not doing things and allowing their children to just bloom naturally. At the right time, my son will go for cricket. At the right time, my daughter will go for that. There's success there as well. So there is no right and there is no wrong. Like I always say, at the end of the rat race, we're all going to still be rats. Someone may be a wealthier rat, a more successful rat, or a sicker rat. So we want to make sure that through mindful parenting, we're not in the rat race. We're in the human race, where we're bringing mindfulness into our choices, our understanding, and our conversations with our children.
Let me give you a little quotation. Sana, can I come
Yes.
in?
Yes.
I came across this very nice little note. I thought I'll share it with Luke and my team here. And it says, when you practice mindful parenting, since you love this concept, and fortunately, the credit goes to Dr. Ajay Kumar, who wrote the book Mindful Parenting. That's how the title of this show also came. So, since you loved it, this is what I thought I'd tease your thoughts a little. Wait for your response. It says, when you practice mindful parenting, you will, number one, gain insight into your own thoughts and feelings. I think you talked about that. Parents need to
Absolutely.
know their
Yeah.
own thoughts and feelings. Two, improve you and your child's emotional regulation skills. If
Absolutely.
I'd be
Yeah.
grateful if you expand that a little and explain it because
Yeah.
that's interesting. How do you improve you and your child's emotional regulation skills? Three, become less critical of yourself and your child. This I understand is being less critical of yourself and your child. Fourth, decrease how often you react impulsively.
Yeah.
These are my 4 points when you practice mindful parenting. This is coming from a very interesting, somewhere theoretical magazine I just picked up before we were coming for this session. Saina, can we have Luke explain this a little?
Yes, please.
Improve you and your child's emotional regulation skills. I think
Yes.
this is becoming very critical.
We can open it to question answers now. Yes, please, Luke. Thank you. Thank you, Luke.
Fantastic. So that's beautifully written. It actually covers all the points of mindfulness around parenting. See, emotional regulation. Today, most adults, like I always like to talk about the perfect truth and lie. Every parent, every human knows the perfect truth that if they do it, things can change in their life. And we also know our perfect lie that we keep telling ourselves every single day. What is emotional regulation? Emotional regulation is number one, what is wrong with emotions? There is nothing. It's part of the human spectrum. We need
Of
to
course.
understand that. We need to understand that. We say, oh, children are pure, children are, they are, but they come with all the spectrums of emotions. I can have a 1-year-old baby who's hungry and I take the food away. How is the baby going to respond? Anger, tantrum, crying, right? There are emotions. Okay. You'll have two young children, okay, and a newborn baby come in. There's envy, envy in a 5-year-old, envy in a 4-year-old, envy in a 6-year-old. So, number one, there's nothing wrong with emotions. Everyone on this call, in this audience, everyone has the entire human spectrum, whether it's anger, lust, gluttony, greed, envy. We all have it. We can pretend we don't have it, but we all have it. It's how we channel it. It's how we channel it. It's how we take anger and channel it into action. It's how we take lust and channel it into something else. But if we don't channel it, if we don't tame it, it can become crime. It can become violence. It can become abuse. Anything. Anger, lust, greed, gluttony, all of these things. But we should not forget that every child is born with it. We have the spectrum. So one is acceptance and understanding that emotions are real. We can't say, "Oh, how could my child do that? How could an adult do that?" Every child or adult is capable of it. The same brain that is kind and empathetic can also create the most violent crime tomorrow because it has all the spectrums in it. And you just need a trigger point, or you need that bottling up of emotions to move you in that wrong direction. So now that we understand that emotions are not a bad thing, they can negatively affect you. They're called negative emotions, but they're part of you. Accept it. First step is acceptance. I have all these emotions in me. That is the first step. Number two, regulation. That's a beautiful word. Of course, parents are going to go through ups and downs where they may have an outburst, they may be impulsive, they may have that. Your kids are going to do it. Your kids are going to do it too. When this happens, the first step is not reaction. How could you do this? How can you say this? I'm the parent. You bring in authority. Authority can be channeled the right way. I am a stickler for discipline. Discipline doesn't mean authority alone. Discipline means using boundaries. You can use boundaries with authority. You can use boundaries with assertiveness. And you can use boundaries with kindness. There are different ways. But the point is, if I'm not emotionally regulated, the easy way out is, I'm the dad, listen to me. That's how it is. I'm not emotionally regulated. Now, my children learn that. If parents are constantly talking to their help or one another or family members the wrong way, your child doesn't have the ability to decide what's right or wrong. They just model it. They just model it. So if you have a particular family member who talks against women, how do you think the son's going to be raised? He thinks
Yeah.
it's the right way. Because children only model. They don't know how to decide what's right or wrong. You can't tell a child sugar is bad for you. They don't understand it. But if as a parent you're eating less of it and explaining to them it's bad for you, now they will understand it. But a parent uses authority. Don't eat sugar. Be sugar free. Be whatever. They don't understand. They want to rebel because that's part of the human spectrum. Rebelling, rebellious nature is a way of protecting your territory, using your aggression because you too are a human. You want to get it. Tantrums. What is tantrum? An expression of wanting to be in control, of feeling out of control. Every child demonstrates it, every adult demonstrates it. So, emotional regulation, we need to be mindful. How do I react in front of my children? Is it necessary? Have I had a bad day? And we will make mistakes. We will make mistakes. But do I have the humility and humbleness to apologize and say that's not the right way to do it? Daddy did this wrong. This is not the way we do it. And then children are so understanding. And that's how they learn, through understanding. So now when I learn to regulate my emotions, your children learn to do it the same way. But now, what happens when children start to go to school, university, college? They have a whole different set of learning from different people, right? We still use emotional regulation. They learn how to break down their feelings. If they're angry, we don't shout at them for being angry. We explain it to them. We make them understand because you can't change them with control. It's part of the human spectrum, right? How can you expect your child never to get angry, never to be jealous? That's a tough expectation you have. And if that's an expectation you have, it is going to cause problems. But let your children demonstrate this. They are. If they don't demonstrate it in front of you, believe me, they're going to find someone else who understands them and allows them to demonstrate in front of them. And that's a dangerous thing in today's time. You know, there's a beautiful saying. I used to look at patients of drug abuse when I was in New York. And when we used to talk to them, I was invited to many of the rehabs and, you know, just the conversations to see. You will never believe most of the reasons why young teenagers had got into violent crime and into drugs. They just said, I got more love and care from the drug dealer than I got from my parents. That brings me back to my foundation. If a child is not getting love, time and attention and a feeling of safety at home, they will find someone who gives it to them. Now, that could be dangerous, wrong company, wrong relationships later in life. You start attracting, you settle for any girl or guy because your foundation was never met. Or you may get someone and distance yourself from parents. Today, so many kids are detached from their parents. They never got the foundation, but they found it from an aunt or an uncle. And then your parents, oh, you love your aunt more than you love me. They'll use all that emotional stuff, never forgetting that they didn't give them the complete foundation that they needed. So emotional regulation comes back to mindfulness again. How am I reacting? What about a 360-degree feedback? Why is it that we only tell our children what to do? I love talking my personal example because I said I can't preach, but I can tell you what I do. I ask my daughter for feedback, not directly feedback. I say, like, hey, what are 2 or 3 things that I do well for you? What are 2 or 3 things that you would want me to change? And they have beautiful answers that are accurate, not the sugar-coated answers that you will get in your corporate job or in a boardroom and stuff like that. They will speak with innocence. And then you're like, wow, wow. And that's why I say emotional regulation allows us to learn from our children, and it allows them to learn from us, not to be controlled with authority and with the label of being a parent.
अजय सर, आप कुछ पूछना चाहेंगे?
Yeah, thank you, Luke. My question is, in a world where complete exclusion from junk food is challenging, do you believe supplements could play a role in maintaining a healthy balance for children? There are mixed opinions on the use of supplements for children. What is your perspective on this?
See, a supplement should always be used to supplement a deficiency. Period. That's the number one rule of a supplement. I'm supplementing a deficiency. If my child is deficient in vitamin D3, okay, he needs or she needs a supplement if the sun cannot give him or her the right amount of D3. So I'm supplementing a deficiency with a prescribed vitamin D3 supplement. Likewise with a B12. But when you see an ad for omega gummies and all of that stuff and marketing that makes you think your child needs more and more of it, some children do. They have deficiencies, they have problems. Certain children with autoimmune conditions may be on steroids, which depletes certain vitamins and minerals, and you will need a supplement to supplement that gap. 2 is if there's malnourishment. If the child is eating more junk food, they're obviously not going to get vitamins and minerals. So then a parent has to make the conscious decision with supervision from a pediatrician to bring in supplements. So supplements are not bad. What is bad is when they're overused or they're sold to parents thinking that, oh, your child has to be on a gummy, which has great omega, but more sugar and more synthetic material more than anything else. So the role of supplements is individual to individual. But an ad saying that omega-3 will make your child more focused in school is absolutely untrue. I can do it with walnuts. I can do it with flax seeds because the RDA for a child is way lesser. Now, will I give the same advice to an adult? No, an adult will probably need a supplement if their lifestyle isn't good and their food isn't good because their requirement is way larger. So you see, supplements have to be used mindfully. Just because there's a whole range that's out there for kids, because tell me, if it really worked, all these kids would be super kids. They're not. Most of the children who come to us have deficiencies. They need the foundations right. They need exercise. They need sunlight. They need nature, less screen time, more nutritious meals, less outside food. I'm not here to say we should be zero junk. Keep a ratio of 90 to 10 with a good lifestyle. Even that's perfect. We got to be practical because at the end of the day, we're all bombarded with ads of junk restaurants. It's all around us. There's no way we can win. There's no way. And then it becomes extremes. So my point is keep a ratio. It's so easy to build a culture of health in the family. Monday to Friday or Saturday, all of us eat home food, healthy food. Saturday as a family or Sunday, we choose to eat whatever we want. We build it as a culture, but we don't make mainstream food, okay, replaced by junk. Because the moment you do that with a child, they're addicted. Adults are addicted. What do you think happens to a child's brain? They get addicted way, way faster. So coming back to supplements, I will use supplements when it is needed, not because it sounds good.
Excellent. Let's have
Thank you.
Praveen.
Can I ask
Praveen,
one
you
more
got
question?
sorry.
Ajay sir, please
Carry on, Ajay. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I recently came across an insightful article where you emphasized the impact of chronic stress on our health, particularly in relation to cardiac problems and cancer. So can you elaborate on that, please?
Doctor, you said stress, right? I didn't
Yes.
hear you. You said stress. Oh, yeah. So there is a direct impact, but not stress, because all of us will start living in fear. Everyone has stress, right? The word is chronic stress. Stress is great for all of us and even our children. They learn, they mold values. Stress is great for us. If they didn't have the stress of waking up on time to be in school, no kid would wake up, right? But the point is, stress is great for us. Cortisol, adrenaline goes up, comes down. Chronic stress has its relation medically, scientifically, and at a lifestyle level with every single disease. From acne to a cancer to PCOS to PCOD to every single condition. And it's simply based on science and anatomy. Cortisol and adrenaline is meant to go up for a short period of time, like normal stress. When we're chronically stressed, we're waking up stressed, going through stress. They finish school, they have homework, they have 5 classes after that. What do you think's happening in a child's body? Their cortisol and adrenaline is high from the time they wake up until they sleep. What happens at an anatomical level in the human body when cortisol and adrenaline are high? We spend more time in the sympathetic nervous system. Inflammation, immunity is compromised, digestion is compromised, there is no growth, there is no repair, because we're primed to be in the nervous system that is supposed to keep us fight and flight response. When I'm in the parasympathetic nervous system, I can rest, I can digest, and I can regenerate. Digestion, regeneration, and repair and rest is impossible if you are in the sympathetic nervous system. So now, what keeps us in these systems? Cortisol and adrenaline. If I need to get into the sympathetic nervous system, my body gets the message through raising cortisol and adrenaline. And the moment it comes down, I move into the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, picture a child or a parent continuously in the wrong nervous system. What do we have? Autoimmune conditions in young children, spectrum autism getting worse, okay? Gut issues, anxiety, bedwetting, social anxiety, every single thing to even depression, because we're not meant as humans to spend so much time in the sympathetic nervous system. Now the child can't sleep at night. You know what sleep deprivation does? They wake up feeling weaker, feeling fatigued, low on energy. Now it affects their focus in school. And yet we think an omega-3 is going to solve the problem. But you see, the root cause of the problem is stress, chronic stress. And that's how it impacts us. It's a known fact that when a child is stressed, they will have gut issues, indigestion, colic, and a common cold and cough easily. Why? Because it impacts the immune system. So we have to understand that chronic stress is a problem. Today, you have young girls getting their period cycle way before their age. A lot of it is brought on by stress, because that same stress affects a woman, bringing menopause way earlier on in their life when they shouldn't have it, caused by stress, moving men into male menopause, which is called andropause, way earlier in their life. Hormonal imbalance caused by chronic stress. So that is the impact of chronic stress on children, our health, prevention, and even recovery.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you. Praveen ji? Ji. Praveen ji? हाँ, जी.
Switch on your mic.
Yes.
Yeah. Not
we
hearing you,
can't hear
Praveen.
you. Yeah.
Just check. No. Yeah. No, still not hearing you. This is switched off now. Not hearing you, Praveen.
Ji. Take your time. Yes. Yes.
Hope it's better now.
Yes.
It's good.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect.
We can hear you. Yes. Thank you.
My audio input was on a different,
Yes.
channel, because I was on a different medium or for the platform for another call before, and the audio input was that call. Extremely sorry. So, Mr.
No
Loka,
worries.
thank you so much for your insightful, conversation and sharing very valuable wisdom. So, I have a question in this angle, a lot of things a person need to understand about parenting, because it's a bit of nutrition, a bit of healthcare, a bit of stress management, a lot of kind of daily life management, routine management, So a lot of things need to be at the right place for a parent to parent the child in the right manner. And at the same time, so most of the parents need to work around the clock to move the financial activities forward as well. And
Yes.
when we largely talk to people or largely talk to parents, the biggest problem they say is like, we're not even having time to think about parenting. So the right
Yes.
parenting comes next, I mean, the quick, easy answer is like, if you can't be a good parent, let's decide not to be a parent. Okay. But they already become a parent. So, and now they feel this is what exactly the problem is. So, you have been interacting with people from various walks of life. There are parents who are very good parenting, and there are parents whose parenting is not that good as well. So the people who are very good in parenting, and what is really good in them, and how exactly they are managing these things proper, and how exactly they learn time on parenting and implement it properly. So how exactly they are kind of managing the styles.
Right. So, see, time and not having time is an excuse that people have to accept. And I'll tell you why. Because we have people forget about parenting. Oh, I don't have time to eat well. I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to sleep. We have some of the busiest people in the world sit with us and we do a simple time management exercise. Let's find where your time is going. This is such a necessary exercise. And even in the busiest billionaire, they find 3 to 4 hours that were being moved into things that were not important. Now, when I look at time management, I also look at priority and value in life. Okay, what are my top three valuable and most important things in life? Example, a child, my health, and my finances. Let's put even finances over there. Now, I need to build around this. How much time do I really need to give my kids? A lot of parents think they need to spend. I used to think I need to give a lot of time to my daughter. My daughter, I can give her 45 minutes of quality time. No phone after a while. She's like, I'm going to read, I'm going to do something, and she'll do her own stuff. They want quality time. They don't want quantity because children cannot be focused on just one thing. They want to do an activity. They want to feel the foundations. I got time, I got attention, I feel loved, I got security. That's all you need to give them. If you're smart, you can get that done in even 30 minutes. Example. But the excuse of time is based on human behavior. I can promise you, everyone, when they do a time management exercise, they will find. So if I put finances, children, and my health is important. Now, where does your OTT platform that you're giving 2 hours every night fit and align with your values? Where does your mindless 2 hours of scrolling on social media align with your top three values? It's not. There's a gap. You need to change that. If you want to buy more time, we always tell people something's better than nothing. Okay? I've taken flights, okay, to get back, even if I could get 20 minutes before my daughter goes to bed, because there is no negotiation on bedtime. That's how it is. Okay? Even if it's 20 minutes. Okay? I've done that, not because I want to be a hero, because it's important to me and her to get a bedtime story. So that's important to me, and I align my actions and values according to that. We as parents need to understand that time is going everywhere, but we find time for everything else. We have to come down to the simple exercise of what are my top three values or goals in life? My children, myself, my health, whatever. Now break it down. My health, how much time do I need? 15, 20 minutes to eat a mindful meal. If I'm eating 3 meals in a day, I need an hour. Exercise, I can be efficient in 30 minutes instead of an hour. It's something is better than nothing. My me time, my yoga, spirituality, keep 15 minutes, keep 20 minutes. Okay, sleep, I keep 8 hours. That's why I have a 16-hour day. I have a 16-hour day because I need 8 hours to function. So I now need to get great with 16 hours. If I don't get great with 16 hours, what am I going to eat into? My sleep time, the easiest thing. The point is it comes down to a P&L. People are great at managing their profit and loss sheets, but they don't know how to budget their time. It is 100% possible. Now, in my plan, how much time do I want to give my daughter, for example? 1 hour. Now you work backwards. You work backwards. I can get more time if I'm having my meal with my daughter. I can get more time by keeping meal times together. So it's all possible. And that's what I said, the perfect truth and the perfect lie that we tell ourselves every day. We know it's possible to make that more time when you're willing and committing to remove the time wasters, all of the time wasters that you have. Okay? Today, you may say, oh, you want to go out on a Saturday. I live in Bandra. To get out of Bandra or in Bandra, it's going to take me 45 minutes to an hour to reach a restaurant. I don't want to be in the car. I would rather order in food, cook food at home, and spend that time with my daughter. The point is, we have a choice. Time is an excuse. I promise you this, because let me give you an example. I have parents currently whose children are in Tata Memorial getting treated with radiation and chemotherapy. You can imagine what their time schedule is. Okay? They still manage, most of them learn how to value things and build the time for it. And so I'm being honest with it. Time is an excuse that most people lie to themselves about. If you really sit down and you budget your time, you are going to find time to do that. Secondly, I may have 1 hour today with a child. How difficult is it to use 1 hour to get the 3 foundation blocks in? Give your child a sense of love, safety, and time. So I love leading by example. I travel a lot. Okay? I know there are some trips that I have to do. There's the guilt of my daughter saying, oh, daddy, you're traveling again, all of that stuff. So I sit her down. I show her my patient roster. I'm flying to Africa. I'm going to be seeing 4 children with cancer, 5 adults. She'll ask questions about the case. And I say, do you think I should go or not go? What do you think she says? What do you think any child would say? Daddy, I really don't want you to go, but I think you should go for this. Now you're involving them in understanding. I'm removing my guilt, and she feels involved in an important decision that I've made. Otherwise, most parents are living with guilt because we can't give as much of time as we would really want to. And that guilt is another problem. It's an emotion that doesn't create the right energy for the parent and for the child. So there are ways of doing, and this is mindfulness again. You can make a child feel so special in even 30 minutes. Why do we think we need so much of time? Because there are parents who give their children so much of time, but they're on their phones all the time, talking to someone else. And believe me, children don't want that quantity of time. They want quality time. They want absolute quality time. So time is an excuse. I can say that up front. I'm yet to find a person who failed at the time management exercise that we did. And I had to say that, oh, you really are so busy. Most people are not efficient with time because we don't value it. We know we're going to get it the next hour. Most of us don't understand it's not promised, but it comes to us, and that's why we take it for granted. That's why we take a sunrise for granted or a sunset for granted, because we know it's going to come, right? So time is the most misused, most valuable, priceless asset that we have to learn to use efficiently rather than an excuse. I'm sorry, but I have to be blunt about that fact because these are the simple truths that people have to accept if they really want to make that change. It's easy to blame it. I don't have time. I can't do it. That's an excuse. Make the time. There is a way. Can't make an hour? Make 20 minutes. Something is better than nothing.
Luke, I'm going to add something to this. It also comes down to what it means to your own conscience being a parent. What does it mean to you being a mother or a father? Because when we love our child, we are doing it because we love our child. Our love is not a gift to our child. Our love is not a favor to our child.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
beautiful what you say. Sorry to interrupt you because at a lot of my events, I didn't want to lose my train of thought. Sorry to interrupt. I ask people, they say, oh, I need to be motivated to work out. And I ask them, do you have children? They say, yeah. I said, do you need to be motivated to love your children? They say, no. I say, why? Because you're conscious, you've given it value. Your child is valuable to you. If you make your body and health valuable, you no longer need motivation to work out. You're inspired because it's about the value. And that's exactly what you said, which was so beautiful. If we consciously love, I'm not saying other parents don't love. Maybe some are just bad at managing time. Okay, I'm not here to shame anyone, but you will find a way to do it if you have to. That's how it is. Sorry, please go ahead.
yes.
Let me give you another quote which I have for you. Is what is conscious parenting. And it says, conscious parenting is a game changer because it doesn't try to change the child, but just ourselves as parents.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. That's beautiful because most children will teach us lessons. If you ask me today, who have I learned most of my lessons from? Of course, I've learned from my parents. I've learned from my relationships. I've learned from my colleagues. I've learned from universities and colleges. but the most powerful life lessons I have learned from my daughter. The most power, because they come with innocence, they come with honesty, brutal honesty, and if you can keep ego and pride down, they are the most powerful lessons. And that's why we have to be willing to change our ways. We're so caught up in our ways because we're now living literally with our own beliefs and mindsets. But a child comes and sees it, they can tear it down because it doesn't make sense to them. They don't have layers. They're operating out of purity and innocence, and with all the spectrums, they give you the most brutal, honest lessons and answers that you can. So I absolutely believe in that statement, that quote that you just said.
Luke, do we have in our country, in any region, parenting institutions where parents can enroll to learn to be conscious parenting, mindful parenting?
I don't know about that, but I think the show that you run could be the first start of it. Because parents have to understand more than, see, there are tons of books available. Okay, now we can take concepts, great stuff. But like I said, we don't want to put parents into a box. We want parents to consciously make decisions. Think, is this what my child really needs? Yes, do it. Is this what I really need? Is this method of parenting aligned with my value system, what I want to create for my child? That's why we need more open sessions rather than people saying, oh, top 10 ways to parent, let me try to fit into the box. No, it may not always be that situation because children are so different. Circumstances are different. A child in Finland has a very, very different exposure to society than a child in Mumbai. I can't put them in the same box of 10 ways to parent. They'll be very, very different. And that's why words like conscious mindfulness inspires us that, okay, I can take tips that, oh, wow, this is a good thing to do. Mindfully, how do I build it into parenting? So consciousness and mindfulness, these are beautiful words that allows us to, as human beings, it allows our spirit not to be caged. Most parents and most mothers will make decisions out of intuition. Most fathers will make some decisions out of the sixth sense. Children have a beautiful sixth sense and intuition. We dampen this beautiful intelligence if we put ourselves into a box that I should do this when my child is 1 year old. I want to give you another example, okay, relating back to your first question. Just before my daughter Tiana was born, I was in the US and I'd gone to consult with some patients. And then I had another parent said, oh, it's going to be a beautiful journey, but there'll be the terrible ones, there'll be the terrible twos, there'll be the tantrum threes. And when they become teenagers, they'll be aggressive tweens. I listened to everything. And in my mind, maybe that's your story. I'm going to make sure that it doesn't have to be my child's story just because people think it needs to be that way. My daughter and many other people's children that I know didn't go through those phases. But sometimes the way society talks that all teenagers are like this, are they like that? All teenagers are not like that. A few are and a few are not. All children are not difficult to handle. Some are and some aren't. But the point is, we need to break that mindset and that subconscious programming that, oh, tantrum threes. What do you think? You're manifesting it. Your child is going to throw tantrums at age 3. But it is all dependent on the environment you create for them and the kind of child you have and what you do. Other people's stories don't have to be ours. And today in general society, people are like, oh, your child's going to be a teenager. What's going to happen? You better be careful of this, better be careful of that. Look out for these red flags. Relax. Someone else's story doesn't have to become yours. And then we go home and take this unconscious and subconscious pressure on our child. We start rocking a boat that doesn't have to be rocked because we have our own fears that we've heard in society, and now we're trying to come and project them and make changes that don't have to be made. So that's again the beautiful word of mindfulness and consciousness is so beautiful for us to bring into parenting.
Thank you, Luke. Ajay sir, would you like to ask something? And then Praveenji, and then we can take it forward. I have a little question for Luke. Yes, Ajay.
Yeah, please go ahead. I think we don't have enough time.
नहीं अजय सर आप पूछिए मैं बाद में I request.
You can ask Sana ji.
Thank you, sir. You are always very generous. Look, how important is it to connect our children with the emotion of courage? Courage of the heart, courage of the mind, courage of your decisions. Courage.
It's
Just
yeah,
simple courage.
beautiful question. It's everything. It's everything. Because see, let's break down human emotion. There's anxiety, which is usually fear. And then there is faith, strength, and courage. Courage from the heart can only be learned by allowing children to demonstrate their true feelings and their real feelings. All spectrums, even anger, even dishonesty. Even let them express it. The moment they're angry, if we try to correct them, they just now learn to be better at suppression. We want them to become beautiful at expression. Now that they've expressed it, how we respond is up to us. We have to teach them courage, that they have the courage to make a mistake, to come and say that there's something wrong. They need to see our courage. From our own conversations, most of them will revolve around fear and anxiety, and your kids are listening to this. What are they learning? Are we demonstrating courage? Of course, we can state a problem that this is happening, but we'll get through it. We can demonstrate faith. We can show a problem and demonstrate because we don't want to be fake and show that everything's perfect. But we have to model courage. How many of us are able to do that as adults? Be who we want to be, live our authentic self, dress the way we want, not how society tells us. The children hear people, oh, I got this invite, but I have to go because this person came from my wedding and whatever. What do we teach our children through all of these things? Fear, stress. Express it, but it's the right thing to do. We should go and give our love and blessings at this person's wedding. But the point is, if we're not teaching them, they can't learn courage. We can look at the dictionary meaning of courage and not learn anything from it. It has to be role modeled. It has to be role modeled. And for that, the first strength that we teach our children for beautiful courage from the heart, they are allowed to express. They are allowed to make mistakes. They are allowed to be aggressive because that's expression. Now, what we do as parents to nurture, change, educate, teach, discipline, that's up to us. But the expression is important. Most people don't express today with courage. Why? Because they've been suppressed, they've been ridiculed, or they've been controlled. Courage is in everyone. It's just suppressed. Everyone has courage. Everyone has it. Let's go back to the Wizard of Oz, right? He had courage. That's what the wizard said. You already have courage. You just don't know about it. You think you need it. So, like happiness, we all go around chasing happiness. Everyone has the ability to be happy right now. We need to find out what is blocking that happiness. Like that, it is courage. If we teach our children courage, they learn how to stand up for themselves and make decisions when they're teenagers, not because of mindless conformity, but because they have the courage to be able to express, communicate, and be themselves. So, like most parents, don't demonstrate that because they're all trying to be someone else. When I say almost, and what do children say? That, oh, my mom is wearing all of this stuff because she doesn't want to show her body and cover up fat and stuff like that. What are we teaching our children? Not to be courageous. Or the dad is trying to do this and that and whatever and stuff like that to feel or to look better and stuff like that. But my point is, what is the message we're teaching children? A young child, my most common case, sees a mom getting on the weighing scale every morning and her mood changes after that if the number's not moved. What does it teach a child? They don't grow up with courage because we're demonstrating fear and insecurity all the time. So we all have courage and so do our children. We have to create the environment and the platform for them to express it.
Thank you,
So
Jay.
how do we have more Lukes? How does the society have more Lukes?
No, I'm just privileged to have so many patients that I learn from. Like I said, you can never preach on these subjects. It's always learning because every parent is different, family situations are different. Today we have so many parents who also come and talk about divorce. Oh, it's going to be difficult for the child. And I always tell them that's your mindset. What about single parents who have actually lost another parent through death or an accident? They're still a single parent. When you're divorced, you're a single parent. Nothing changes, just the context has changed. But you see, certain cultures will impress, oh, a single mom is going to have so many more problems. A single dad is going to have so many more problems. No. What happens when there's a widow? Does that child turn out bad? So we got to break these mindsets that society is locking us in. And I'm sorry to say, but there are certain cultures that do this all the time. And India moves away from our traditional, beautiful culture to ape those cultures and put ourselves in prisons and cages and boxes. while those cultures are actually doing the same thing that we were doing years ago. We can learn from cultures. I'm not against it, but learn with mindfulness. Things have worked. Use your traditions that have worked. Use the things that have worked. Use the lessons that your grandparents will give you, which are perfect lessons. You don't need it to be packaged into reels and videos and made fancy for you to do it. When you're mindful, you will learn the simplest things in life are the best lessons. Sometimes just asking your mom, your dad, if you had a great childhood, your grandparents, you have no idea the wisdom that you will get from them. So we can explore all these opportunities to learn more and more.
Thank you. Ajay sir, a message before we conclude. We'll just take it. आप बताएं फिर प्रवीण जी a message and then we'll ask Mummy to.
Yeah. Actually, I couldn't agree more with Mr. Luke's emphasis on three pillars of mindful parenting. It's love, attention, and safety. Just as John Locke aptly put it, a sound mind in a sound body is essential for a happy state in this world. As we conclude, I am reminded of Einstein's profound belief that imagination is more important than knowledge. Let's carry forward the essence of nurturing curiosity and unconventional thinking in our parenting journey. Thank you, Mr. Luke, Dr. Kiran Bedi ji, Saina ji, and Mr. Praveen for sharing your invaluable insights.
Thank you,
Can I,
sir.
Saina, can I conclude with an Adam Grant's wonderful quotation?
Yes, please, and then I'll also request Praveen ji to say something.
Your success,
Yes.
your Adam Grant said, this is from a Twitter handle, Adam Grant's, Adam M. Grant. Your success as a parent is not determined by whether your kids get into elite schools or prestigious professions. The real test of parenting, according to Adam Grant, is not what children achieve, but what they become. You said it in your opening, it's in the capsule. The real test of parenting is not what children achieve, but who they become and how they treat others.
Beautiful. Yes. Beautiful.
Praveen, your turn for conclusion.
Praveen ji.
Sure. It's like it was really nice to listen to Mr. Luke and Ajay and Kiran Bedi ma'am on the thoughts. I just put, 5 just statements. I don't want to elaborate. The first of all, I think so what I adopt as a parent in my style of things is like, I firmly believe that because there is always a power distance at inside home, because the owner of the home, the technical income owner of the home, the technical decision maker of the home is the parent, and the child is kind of the least powerless character inside the home if you think in one angle or one perspective. So if you take the Stanford prison experiment kind of an example, it's like, if you don't intervene properly, in every chance the parent may be unleashing their anger on top of the child whenever the situation is forcing them to do that. So I always keep in mind, so me and my wife, so we both has to be very, very controlled in a way that, the Lucifer within us should not get unleashed on to the child when the situation is in a very adverse scenario. That is number one. And number two, I always, I'm very, very mindful about trusting my child. So trusting my children. Whereas if they say that, I ask them so have you learned the lesson for your school? If they say, yes, I learned. So my first premise is, yes, they're telling the truth. If they say that, did you do that? They say I didn't do that. So then my first point is they're trusting you or trusting her. So I give a lot of value to trust my child, trust my children. That's number two. And number three is respecting their judgment about their life is also very important, I would say. So which day you want to keep full free in your life, or would you want to go for that session, or would you want to go for this particular program? So usually we don't respect their judgment, we just take the decision and put it on them. So my son is 11 years and my daughter is 4 years, and I respect both of their judgment about their life. And that is number one. Number three, so one more thing is I always talk about I think parents should talk very, very positive about the world at home. Because when we talk bad about the world, when we talk hopeless things in the world, when we talk negative things in the world, the children are growing up in a level where it's I'm in a very hopeless scenario. So it will be very important to create the hope, to create the positivity, and create that we are living in a great a great place. It's very important that the parent should create that hope in the mind of people. And the last, as Mr. Luke was also mentioning, so one more thing I always keep in mind is like, a parent should feel the joy of missing out a lot of things in his life. So if I need to spend more time with my child, sometimes I may have to miss something else. Sometimes I may have to prioritize this above some other thing. Like, I may be spend more time with my child. I may have to spend less time with my friends, or I may have to spend less time with something else. So that a feeling of the joy of missing out is also there with the parent to enjoy things in the right manner. So these are some of the aspects which I keep as important when I take the avatar of a parent, in my life.
Wonderful, blessed. Luke, thank you so much. Luke, I think it's very
I
simple.
can't hear.
For me, you
Luke,
can
you
hear
can't
me,
hear?
Luke?
Can you hear?
Luke, you can hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
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 Oh, I can't hear you for some
You can
reason.
hear me, Luke?
Can you hear me or any one of us?
Okay, I can't hear you.
Any one of us? Any one of us?
My mic is on.
We
Yeah.
we wait for a moment.
None of us? You hearing none of
Can't
us?
hear you. Sorry.
You can
I
hear
can't
us?
hear you. Sorry. But please go ahead with what you're saying. I know you're under time. I just
You're not hearing us.
No, we wait. Give it a moment. We give it a moment because
Just
give
let's
it a
check.
moment. Just checks. Sujata, it's just a
Why?
setting, I think.
you can hear me,
cannot hear me?
right?
Yes,
Yes, we can.
we can hear
Yes.
you.
For some reason, yeah,
We
Now
can
can you
hear
hear
you.
us?
still can't hear you. Sorry,
Oh.
I don't know.
Sujata, can you check?
Now I
We
can
give.
hear you. No,
Okay,
Yeah,
great,
good.
great,
it's
great.
gone
Thank
again.
you.
No,
Ji,
Luke, I need a finding. I need a
But you please
farewell.
go ahead and close. Please go ahead
Please
and
give us
close.
a
I'll
one
speak to you
one message
separately.
for,
Yeah.
just give us your one message for the parents who are all listening to you, because this is a very immortal session we've had. Truly immortal. It has a very high shelf life. So people are
No,
going to
ma'am, please
revisit
go
you.
ahead. Please go ahead. I think there's some technical error,
Oh.
you know,
Luke,
but
you still are not hearing us?
can't hear any of y'all actually.
Ji.
Yeah.
Ji. So, Luke, can you, let's give it a moment.
She's typed it.
No, it's
Oh,
the
Luke is lost.
connection.
We've
No,
lost him.
Ma's been kind. We've had a very, very fruitful.
Why
We've
have we
had a,
lost him? No, why can't
it's
we
a
get him back? Let's try.
yes, let's wait. But then maybe let's just see if Luke has an
No,
appointment.
Answer
we
it.
need a very powerful final
Yeah, you
message
can
from
hear me, right?
Yes, we can. We can.
You can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, if
No
there was
comment.
one lesson, I wanted to leave with all the parents today. I know we're all busy. I know we all have our own different healings and emotions and all of that, but it would be the foundation. Just reflect tonight. Love, attention and time, and security. How do you build on this? If you're doing a great job, fantastic. If not, where can you build on each of these three things? As parents, try to figure it out together. If you're a single parent as well, try to figure it out. Ask your children, what makes you feel loved? Do you think I give you enough of time? What makes you feel safe? I promise you the answers that you get with your children will melt your heart. And then that's exactly what you need to start doing with them. Keep it as simple as that. I can't assume what every child wants right now, but it will revolve around the three foundations. And that's the message I would love to leave everyone with.
That's beautiful.
Thank you,
Thank you
Luke.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Luke.
Since I can't hear you, I'm going to sign off. But thank you,
Yes,
everyone.
thank
It's
you
been a
so much.
pleasure. And this is a
Thank you.
beautiful, beautiful show that you'll do. I really
Thank
hope it reaches maximum parents because there are so many learnings from so many of the experts on the panel, previous panels. And I think that's what we need. We need beautiful information, knowledge, experience, and simple ways to put it together. It's not complicated. That's what we need to do. So thank you
yes.
for having such a beautiful show.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great evening,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ma bless you and your family. Thank you. Thank you. Ajay sir, thank you so much. Praveen ji, thank you so much for your thoughts. We
No,
thank
how
our
do we,
audience.
one
Ji.
minute before we say, how much more can we promote what all Luke said today? I think we need to do massive promotion of this session.
Yes.
So Shakira and Sujata behind, we must do maximum promotion of this, maybe repeat it often. till we meet again, because we almost have 4 weeks gap between we do the next. Maybe every week, once a week, we repeat it.
Sure.
The DL must repeat.
Yes, we'll plan that. We'll after the session we'll take it forward. We'll plan that. Ji.
All right. No, I'm
Thank you
listening,
so much.
letting the listeners hear that we shall repeat Luke's program once a week
Yes,
till
we'll
we have
certainly.
the next program.
Ji, we'll definitely do that. We'll definitely do that.
Thank you.
Ajay sir, thank you so much. Praveen ji, thank you so much.
Bye. Bye, ma. Bye,
Plenty,
Praveen.
plenty
It's
from
been a
this
very,
expert,
very
because he's a practicing doctor, so he has so much the latest. In fact, the tendency now is not to have a child because people are feeling very, very challenged being parents. They don't know how to be a parent, and they see lots of challenges. So many parents now, very highly qualified, educated, are now choosing to opt out of being parents. It's
Yeah.
quite a challenge today. And I think the world is not seeing this problem all over, because we are not seeing this problem. PTAs, etc., schools, I don't know where they get this expertise from. But as he rightly said, every child is so unique, but you can only learn some basics. As he rightly said, give the child the love, the time, attention, and sense of security.
Yeah. Thank you.
ji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ji. Namaste ji. Thank you. Jai Dhari. Thank you.